This woman's name is Elisa. 20 years ago, she was a very famous star in Hollywood. With her beautiful face and hot body, Elisa easily captured the attention of all the men. Even though she's now over 50, she's still a model teaching aerobics on TV. However, on her 51st birthday, the producer of the show invited Elisa to a restaurant and bluntly fired her. He said that Elisa was now over 50, and she was no longer suitable to be a model for his show. The man needed someone younger and more beautiful to attract viewers. These harsh words felt like a stab to Elisa's heart. On the way home, she discovered that her advertisement had been taken down. Elisa was so dazed and distracted that she accidentally crashed into another car coming towards her. Fortunately, the accident wasn't serious. After a doctor's checkup, they sent the woman home the same day. However, she just sat there, crying uncontrollably for her unfortunate fate. An assistant noticed and came over to check her back and spine. He said she was the right candidate for a trial program. After saying this, he handed Elisa her clothes. She noticed that he had a red birthmark on his hand. As she left the hospital, Elisa found a USB in her bag. It was from the assistant she had just met. It had the words "miracle drug" and a phone number on the back. Elisa didn't understand what was going on when suddenly, a man approached and started talking to her. She recognized him as a former high school classmate. He was very excited to see Elisa. He said he was a big fan of hers. He even complimented her, saying she still looked beautiful. Elisa was very embarrassed when she heard this. The man then gave her his phone number, hoping that one day they could have dinner together. Elisa seemed happy on the outside, but deep down, she knew she never wanted to see this man again. After returning home, Elisa opened the USB to check it. It contained a video of an experiment where they split a chicken egg into two. The voice in the video said, "This miracle drug can clone your DNA, creating a younger and more beautiful version of yourself. 1 week for this person and 1 week for that person. If you follow the process correctly, you'll have the body you've always dreamed of." Elisa thought this was nonsense. She didn't believe the drug existed, so she threw the USB into the trash. Then, she packed her things to go to a bar. However, the men there were only interested in younger girls. No one paid attention to Elisa. She felt discouraged and left. While drunk, Elisa suddenly remembered the USB. She then called the phone number on the back. She wanted to buy the miracle drug from the company. After making the payment, Elisa received a black envelope. Inside, there was a series of numbers and an address provided by the company. Elisa secretly went there alone. The place looked like an abandoned neighborhood. After entering an old warehouse, Elisa found a room. She went to the storage compartment with her number on it, and took out a cardboard box. Inside was a green bottle to activate the miracle drug, 2 bags of liquid food for 2 bodies, a tube to transfer the 2 bodies into each other, and finally, a warning: always follow the rules. Each body can only function for a maximum of 7 days and must transfer to the other body. Without thinking, Elisa immediately injected the green solution into her body. She suddenly felt uncomfortable, then collapsed onto the floor. Elisa realized that something inside her was moving. A terrifying sound echoed. Her back slowly ripped apart. A younger body stepped out from within. It was Elisa's new version. After regaining her composure, she began to stitch up the wound on her back for Elisa. Thinking everything was fine, suddenly, the girl felt dizzy. Her nose kept bleeding. It turned out she had missed an important step. That within 7 days, the clone of Elisa must take spinal fluid from the original body daily to maintain its function. After following the instructions, she withdrew a spinal fluid syringe from Elisa's back. She injected it into her own body. All her senses quickly stabilized. From that day on, Elisa had the beautiful body she had always dreamed of. She returned to the TV station to register for the upcoming young model recruitment. With her hot body and beautiful face, Elisa was quickly noticed by the producer. She even named herself Sue. The director saw her as a rare talent and immediately asked her to sign a contract. Sue suddenly remembered that she could only work alternately with the original body. So she came up with an excuse that she would need to go back home to take care of her grandmother every week. She wanted to propose a special contract just for herself. Seeing that the girl had potential, the director, although very strict, quickly agreed. He even complimented her for being filial. From that day on, Sue became the exclusive model for the hottest TV show of the year. Her excellent dancing skills amazed everyone. Her face quickly appeared everywhere. In the blink of an eye, 7 days passed. It was time to switch back to the old body. Sue used a syringe to connect her body to Elisa's. Immediately, the girl collapsed, unconscious. Elisa then woke up and felt her body was in intense pain. It turned out that this was a side effect of the miracle drug. The next day, Elisa went to the TV station. The director had already packed her things for her to take home. He said he had found a new, outstanding model. 1 week of Sue was joyful, while 1 week of Elisa was dull and boring. As each day passed, she became more eager to switch out of her aging body. Before she knew it, 7 days had passed. Sue woke up once again. Seeing the ugly body lying in front of her made her uncomfortable. She then thought of a way to carve a hole in the bathroom to make a secret room to hide Elisa. However, the noise from the demolition caught the attention of the neighbor. He was about to come over to complain. But when he saw Sue's beautiful face, he immediately changed his attitude. The girl said she had just moved in. The neighbor wanted to get to know her and said he would help her fix things. It's true that with a beautiful face, people around you will be kinder. Sue enjoyed every second of the glamorous life she had always dreamed of. On the last day, Sue even brought a handsome guy home. But while they were in an intimate moment, suddenly blood started flowing from the girl's nose. She was startled and realized she was running out of time. However, not wanting to miss the fun, Sue broke the rule. She went into the bathroom to take more spinal fluid from Elisa's body. She then came out and continued enjoying herself. The next day, Elisa woke up. She saw the messy room with food and alcohol. It seemed Sue had a wild night. However, because of breaking the rule, Elisa's body had to suffer the consequences. One of her fingers aged rapidly. Elisa called the customer service center to request a solution, but they immediately refused, stating, although there are 2 of them, the warning was very clear. Everything Sue did was also Elisa's responsibility. Realizing there was nothing more she could do, Elisa had to clean up the mess herself. Then, she went to the company's address to collect her goods as scheduled. On her way back, Elisa stopped at a nearby cafe. An old man was sitting opposite her. He kept staring at Elisa and asked, 7 days sure passed by quickly, right? She didn't understand what the man meant. Then, she noticed he had a red birthmark on his hand, just like the assistant at the hospital the other day. It turned out the man had also used the same drug as Elisa. He warned her that, the more you use the drug, the lonelier you will feel. But that is the only way to preserve your value and prove your existence. Elisa hurriedly left the cafe. As she stepped outside, she almost bumped into a young man on a motorcycle. Elisa recognized him as the one she had shared intimate moments with the previous night. But now, he was cursing and insulting her. This made Elisa feel like she had no value left. She remembered the high school friend who had given her his number. Elisa called him and wanted to invite him to dinner tonight. She wanted to prove to herself that she was still attractive. She quickly made a reservation, and the man was very surprised. Elisa then put on her best outfit. She carefully applied makeup in front of the mirror. She even wore gloves to cover the signs of aging. However, just before the scheduled time, as she stepped out the door, Elisa saw a poster of Sue right in front of her. Sue's young and beautiful face seemed to contrast with Elisa's sagging features. Jealousy flared up. Elisa angrily canceled the appointment. She went back inside and wiped off all her makeup. Then she opened the fridge and grabbed some food to fill the void. Elisa's life became dull. In contrast, Sue always attracted attention with her graceful dancing and beautiful body. That day, while performing a dance routine in front of the stage, suddenly something strange protruded from Sue's hip. The director below saw it and ordered the camera to replay the clip. Sue hurriedly ran to the bathroom. She checked and found a strange object sticking out from her body. She tried to push the object up to her belly button. Then she pulled out a fried chicken leg. Sue was startled and woke up. It turned out to be just a nightmare. However, when she stepped into the living room, she discovered dozens of leftover food containers scattered everywhere. It turned out that during the 7 days, Elisa had ordered dozens of meals and enjoyed them alone. Sue was extremely angry to have to clean up the mess Elisa had made. She called the customer service center of the company to report it. However, they only repeated the same thing as before. The 2 of them were one. There was no unauthorized action here. Sue then went to the TV station and found employees dismantling her show's nameplate. She worried that she would be fired. However, the director said that the viewership of her show was increasing too fast. Therefore, he had prepared a special project. A New Year's Eve show with over 50 million live viewers. Sue would be the main character. He gave her 3 months to prepare. She was extremely happy upon hearing this. This was definitely her one chance to become a Hollywood superstar. So, in the following days, Sue started training relentlessly. She no longer cared about her 7-day deadline. She kept asking for more spinal fluid from Elisa's body to extend the time. This caused Elisa, when she woke up, to discover her body had aged severely. She looked like a 90-year-old woman. Elisa angrily called the company and demanded a solution. However, the company replied, if she was dissatisfied, she could end the experience at any time. Although very angry, Elisa immediately became confused upon hearing this. She didn't want Sue to continue abusing her power. But she also didn't want to return to her old, ugly body. Elisa then turned on the TV to kill time. But all she saw were images of Sue dancing. This made Elisa incredibly jealous. While Sue was out there being noticed by many people, Elisa had to hide at home, not daring to face anyone. She threw food at the TV and cursed continuously. She even taped newspapers over the glass to avoid seeing Sue's poster. A week later, Sue woke up to find the house looking like a trash dump. The smell of rotten food made her incredibly furious. She decided this time, she would drain all of Elisa's spinal fluid, so she would never have to return to her body again. 3 months later, the special New Year's program was fast approaching. Sue had everything ready. That day, she even brought a handsome man home to prepare for an intimate moment. However, when checking the bottles of spinal fluid, Sue discovered they were all empty. She called the helpline and was told that spinal fluid has a limited supply. To get more, there was no way except to transfer the body back to the original. The consequence of lacking spinal fluid caused Sue to feel dizzy and nauseous. She used a device to proceed with the transfer. The sound from the bathroom reached her boyfriend in the room. He heard it and went to check. When Elisa woke up, she looked in the mirror and was horrified to discover her body had turned into a 100-year-old woman. Her skin was wrinkled, and she could no longer stand up straight. She immediately locked the door and shouted for the young man to leave. Hearing the strange voice from inside the bathroom, the young man was terrified and quickly grabbed his things to run out of the house. Back to Elisa. The next day, she contacted the company and demanded they cancel the service. She didn't want to endure more pain in this body. The company then sent a special solution. Injecting it into Sue would make her never wake up again. Elisa quickly withdrew the syringe and injected it into Sue. However, as she injected halfway, she suddenly realized Sue was the only option that could elevate her value. If she ended it now, she would be left with nothing but an old, ugly body. Thinking of this, Elisa quickly withdrew the syringe from Sue. Sue then suddenly woke up. Thanks to the side effects of the solution, both bodies could now see each other. Sue saw the syringe on the floor. Knowing that Elisa wanted to kill her, she angrily rushed toward her. She repeatedly kicked the old woman. Maybe because she was a dance teacher, her kicks were very strong. When she looked back, Elisa had stopped breathing. That night was the night of the special show. Sue arrived at the studio but noticed something was wrong with her body. Her teeth started falling out. It turned out this was the consequence of no longer having the original body. In her panic, the director brought in sponsors to meet her. Sue tried to stay calm, not daring to say anything. Fortunately, a group of dancers passed by, attracting the attention of the men. Sue quickly ran to the elevator, but she discovered her nails and one of her ears were also falling off. Sue rushed home and injected the miracle drug into her body. She wanted to create a better version of herself. However, since it wasn't the original body, the result was a horrific deformity. It had 2 heads and 4 arms. Its skin was wrinkled and ugly, looking like a monster. Despite that, it wore a beautiful dress. It wore a mask shaped like Elisa's face and went to the live show. At that time, many audience members had arrived to watch the event. Everyone was eager to meet the beautiful model. But what came out was a terrifying monster. The crowd screamed and ran away in panic. The monster kept saying it was Sue, but no one cared. A few young men rushed to attack and beat it. They even used an axe to chop off the monster's head. But another head grew back from inside. The scene was horrifying. The monster tried to walk down the Walk of Fame. Its body couldn't withstand it and suddenly exploded into pieces. In the end, only a pile of wrinkled flesh remained. It slowly crawled to the star symbol with its name on it. In front of it appeared a scene of thousands of people clapping. This was the final glory Elisa had always wished to witness. Before everything slowly sank into darkness, the staff then completely cleaned up the flesh. This marked the end of the unfortunate woman's life. The movie is now over. What do you think after watching? Please leave a comment below. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like and subscribe so you won't miss the upcoming exciting films. Thank you and goodbye.